Tiling your own floor, backsplash, or wall might seem like an intimidating project, but with a little knowledge, you can be off on your own, creating beautiful, long-lasting tile work and planning what you're going to do with the money you save by making this a DIY project. In this video, I want to give you a look at how to tile a floor or a wall. I've also got a written tutorial with helpful tips, photos, and tons of details to help you take on your first tiling project with confidence. You can use this video to help you with either ceramic or porcelain tile. The main differences between them are that porcelain is heavier and more water impervious. Ceramic tends to be less expensive and easier to cut. Here you can see us tiling our bathroom using porcelain floor tiles and ceramic wall tiles. For a basic tile job, you'll need tile saw, a wet saw or a manual cutter variety, mortar or thin set, a notched trowel, spacers, a level, grout float, sponge, and a face visor if you're using that wet saw. I've got these listed out on my website as well as links to the products we use, so check that out at the link in the description. The first part of tiling is spending some time planning your layout. Place as many tiles down on the floor where you can see them so that you can see how many cuts you're going to need to make, and if any of the cuts will be problematic. Planning allows you to see problems before you start putting mortar down and it's too late to turn back. Are there places that it will be too difficult to cut, where pieces will be too small or the pattern will look funny? Pro tip, avoid butting cut edges up to factory edges or where they will show. Hide them where they won't show, such as against walls or where they're going to be covered by baseboard or other tile. Now let's talk about how to actually cut the tile. Tile can be cut using a wet saw or a manual tile cutter that scores and snaps the tile. I personally recommend a wet tile saw. We've used this little Ryobi for I think 6 years now, and it's been through something like 6 bathrooms, 4 kitchens, and a fireplace, probably more than I'm forgetting. It's an inexpensive little saw that's paid for itself many times over. Manual tile cutters are good for small tile pieces like these hexagon tiles in our shower. For larger formats, they just don't do a clean enough job, in my opinion. But I'll still provide a link over on the side if you're looking at one of those. Now, here's some basics on using that wet saw. Wet saws resemble tile saws in design, but utilize a diamond blade and have a reservoir of water that the blade runs through to keep it cool while cutting. Move the tile slowly through the cut, being especially slow and careful at the end of the cut so as not to chip the tile. Unlike a table saw, you can and will need to get your fingers a little bit closer to that blade. Pro tip, be sure to wear waterproof clothing because the spray from the blade turning through that water will likely soak you. Bonus tip, it is possible to cut curves on a tile saw. Whether it's around a toilet flange, shower plumbing, or other curved objects, you may likely find you need to cut a curve, or maybe even something more of a circle. As you can see, I make several straight line cuts up to the line. I then carefully run the blade along the rough edges left behind to knock off those little points. This process undercuts the tile so that the bottom side has more material taken away than the top side, but that won't create any issues in setting the tile and won't ever be seen. Once your tile is cut, you will need to mix the mortar. Mortar can come either pre-mixed or in powder form. The pre-mix is nice for when you want to do a little work at a time and not worry about the mix drying out quickly. You will need to closely follow the instructions for whatever mortar that you choose to go with. Your mix should be thick, but not runny. The key is that it needs to be able to hold the grooves that you will create using that notched trowel. Speaking of those notches, let's cover setting the tile. To set a piece of tile, you will butter the back with mortar. Yes, I said butter, that's the term, I didn't make it up. Spread the mortar across the back of the tile, then hold the trowel at an angle and run notches through the tile in a left to right or right to left direction as opposed to an up and down direction. When you set the tile in place, use a firm amount of pressure and move it around just a bit to settle it into the grooves you created with the notched trowel. Grooving the tile allows the mortar to settle into position without trapping air behind the tile and weakening the installation. You'll want to make sure that you're getting a good coverage, and you can test that by pulling the tile away from the floor or the wall and just seeing that mortar is evenly covering the entire back of the tile. Use spacers to create a consistent gap between the tiles. 1/16, 1/8, or even 1/4 are the most common increments. We typically use 1/8 of an inch, as you can see here. If you are tiling a wall, you'll want to check the rows with a level every once in a while to ensure that your work isn't going either up or down, that those rows are straight across. What starts small at the bottom can end up being a big problem at the top. Pro tip: when running the tile from one wall to the next wall, you'll need to think about the tiles as a continuous piece, even though they'll have to be cut. So if, for example, you have 4 inches of a 12-inch piece on one part of the wall that runs into a corner, do the other 8 inches on the next wall. So your next piece will be 8 inches, and together you'll have a 12-inch. That'll allow you to keep your pattern running even from wall to wall. Finally, consider using a decorative edge to finish off your wall tile if the edge will be seen. We used metal edge profiles from Schluter to create a clean finished edge at the top of these tile half walls. There you have it, a beginner's guide to tiling a floor or a wall. Next time I'm going to cover how to grout all of that hard work so that you can have a truly professional looking job. So be sure to follow along on Instagram and Facebook at Created Home. Subscribe on YouTube. Don't miss out on that next video. And if you are interested, we are currently in the middle of a master bathroom renovation, so there's lots of good stuff there. And be sure to follow along, www.createdhome.com.